Roanoke for the Players' Championship.
You're not kidding. Green light has been given. Players will start things off. Anderson going to sacrifice a wooded foothills to get himself a basic forest and play Warden of the First Tree to kick off round number 9.
Great opening here for Anderson, and being on the play with a 1-drop, very, very important. If he can get out ahead on the board, keep things stable, his cards, pound for pound, are a lot more powerful than DeMars, and he can set up spots where his removal spells are especially punishing. The spots where Anderson's going to get in trouble in this matchup is if it just takes him a little while to get out of the gates, and then he's forced to block in spots where DeMars can punch through with pump spells.
Wild Slash will take care of the Warden. Dark Red been a pretty popular deck here on day number 1, as has Red-Green Landfall. So it looks like we found the aggressive colors of choice in this format, at least so far.
To me, the best payoff for an aggressive strategy in the format appears to be Atarka's Command. So no surprise that the most popular aggressive decks we've seen thus far have been red-green.
There's a mountain. Mr. Mars thinking about it. Now he'll go with it. And now an Abbot. Top card, just a boring old mountain. Anderson's going to sacrifice a Flooded Strand. See what land Todd wants to search up here. Go with just a basic plains. Now battle lands onto the battlefield untapped moving forward. So let's go Anderson's way. Obzon Charm the draw. Smoldering Marsh to play, enters the battlefield untapped, pass the turn back. DeMars picked up a copy of Lightning Berserker. I'll sacrifice a Bloodstained Mire, probably go get a Cinderglade, since it's a freebie right now.
Big improvement for Atarka Red, too, is the mana. I think being able to go mountain, now fetch for dual lands, so much better than, you know, I think even the forest is optional in the deck at this point. You used to have to play cards like Temple of Abandon to get enough red sources. Mana Confluence was painful in mirror matches. Mana is very smooth now.
For Brian, he does have a Lightning Berserker. It appears that this is going to be dashed. He's coming into the red zone. Going to pump twice. Pretty good target for Obzon Charm, honestly. Yeah. 2 damage will come across from the Abbot, but that's a pretty good turn there for Anderson.
And I like Todd's approach to the matchup thus far. That's a spot where you can say, oh, I can take a hit this turn, and then, you know, untap, play Siege Rhino, and do most of the damage. Maybe I use the Obzon Charm to draw cards. He knows the only thing that matters is protecting his life total.
There is Siege Rhino. Back over to DeMars we go. Tarka's Command was the draw.
And one of the vulnerabilities of playing a deck that's so pump spell centric is that if Todd can stabilize the board a little bit, chain together a couple removal spells, DeMars may have no action and not be drawing very live.
Oh, here's an attack with the Abbot. I think Siege Rhino's blocking.
Probably. Todd can get killed from this spot. The right mixture of Titan strengths become immense. You can get killed from 19.
That's actually not very hard at all.
The issue here is that Todd has Dramoka's Command in hand, so I think he really wants to get to a spot where he can untap and then fight something.
I think we're going to see at least a Titan Strength here. Yep. Can't forget that's going to trigger Prowess as well. Zergo's the top card. Yeah, had Todd not blocked and Brian had Titan Strength, Teamer Battle Rage, just would have killed him. Here's Become Immense. Pretty good turn. And Siege Rhino was going to die. No trample damage, but he gets the creature out of his way.
I think Todd said no blocks.
Oh, wow, he did say no blocks. Well, okay.
I think because of Dromoka's command in hand, he wants to untap with the creature. He's also got Murderous Cut.
All right.
So it is risky. If DeMars had the perfect setup, he could have killed him there.
Yeah, that's pretty risky.
But now Todd's definitely in control of the game.
For what it's worth, the reason it's risky is because Todd doesn't know what's in Brian's deck. If Todd knows that Brian's playing this build of the deck, it's a completely different world, right?
Maybe. I mean, it does make blocking more attractive. The other side of it is if DeMars goes, okay, become immense, play a creature, go, Todd's hand's not very good. It's one removal spell and a Dromoka's command that doesn't do anything. So even if he knows DeMars' list, there's still an argument for saying no blocks, even though it's very risky.
Well, Siege Rhino plus Dromoka's command took care of the Abbot, making the Rhino attack for a little bit more. 11-6 right now in favor of DeMars, though he's got nothing on the board. DeMars' deck with the unique ability to kind of kill out of nowhere.
Especially with dash creatures. I mean, he can go into his turn with nothing and kill you.
Speaking of dash creatures, here comes Urgo. He could actually try to kill Anderson this turn, because he has a Tarkus command in hand. But I kind of like the patience here. Now there's a Murderous Cut. DeMars really trying to pick his spots here. Anderson will draw.
DeMars with the Tarkus command in hand here, still drawing live.
Yeah.
Still got a draw to a Tarkus command and maybe some other weird mixture of cards next turn.
6-6 now.
And Todd's not even guaranteed to have lethal next turn.
There's Hangerback Walker to help that out. Tarkus command going to go upstairs there for Brian. If he has another Tarkus command, it's over. He'll untap. Draw. He has another command in hand. Yeah, he's going to try to kill him. That's going to get the job done. So Brian DeMars is going to win this game here over Todd Anderson. A Tarka Red feels like it maybe kind of steals one there.
I mean, that was a great display of what that deck is capable of. Todd was on the play with a one-drop, had Siege Rhino on curve, and a variety of removal spells. And DeMars just got in one big shot that one turn with Abbott backed up by Titan Strength and Become Immense. And that backed up by a couple burn spells here and there was enough to kill Todd.
Yeah, that turn with Abbott and Titan Strength, that's an attack for 13.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage.
And that, I mean, DeMars was, it never felt like he was on top of the game.
Yeah.
It felt like he was playing from behind the whole time, but got in one good shot, was able to finish off the game with burn spells.
Sideboard's where we're going to go. We're going to take a look at Todd Anderson and his Abzan aggro deck first.
2 copies of a Ration Cleric, a Hidden Dragon Slayer, 2 copies of Self-Inflicted Wound, a Dead Drop, a Silk Wrap, 2 Dispel, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Exert Influence, Straz Dancer, and Duress. So, as we mentioned before, Duress and Dispel seem great for this matchup, really good at fighting in combat, getting a Tarkus command out of his hand or countering it on the way down. The Straz Dancer is a little bit slow, but it can accomplish the same thing, and maybe with Todd on the play, he may bring it in. I think his copies of a Ration Cleric, Hidden Dragon Slayer, and Silk Wrap also very good.
Other side of things here for DeMars, he's got 4 Hangerback Walkers, 2 Thunderbreak Regions, 2 Roast, 3 Arc Lightnings, 2 Fiery Impulses, and 2 Goblin Heel Cutters.
I like Goblin Heel Cutter in this matchup, I like Thunderbreak Region in this matchup, and I like Roast. I don't know if I like Hangerback Walker unless DeMars in all of these matchups converts into a slower beatdown deck. Abzan is equipped with a lot of exiling removal, so Hangerback Walker is not excellent in the matchup, but if DeMars just becomes an entirely different deck post-board, it may come in along with his answers to Siege Rhino and Roast and Goblin Heel Cutter, plus Thunderbreak Region to have some more game in the air.
Well, these players will sideboard and shuffle up here for game number 2. Todd Anderson will be on the play after getting kind of burned out there at the end of that game. Really felt like he was going to be able to stabilize, but Tarkus man, pretty powerful stuff.
And if you want to go back to that no block with Siege Rhino, well, it would have been very hard for him to do anything with Dromoka's command in his hand. So DeMars had multiple angles of attack there.
Well, as these players do get ready, we will talk about our Season 3 Invitational Champion. That is Alex Bostecki. And of course, he's got his wonderful germ token here after overcoming Steve Mann in the finals of the Season 3 Invitational. Bostecki gets this token, $10,000 invite to a Players Championship as well. But there are a couple ways to go about getting the token as it's now available.
Yeah, starting right now, anytime you register for one of our 2-day $20,000 Open Series event, any of our 5K Premier IQs, both the ones that we hold Sunday here at the Open Series events and ones that you can bring to your local store, and any order from StarCityGames.com, $5 or more will come with this token.
Congratulations again to our Season 3 Invitational champion, Alex Bostecki, who we're going to see later this year at the Players' Championship. Looking forward to that as we're working our way towards punching some more invites to this tournament as well. I think it's a pretty good chance we'll see Todd Anderson there.
Yeah, he's in great position, very high up on the leaderboard, especially after his win in Cincinnati in Modern with Infect, and a player who I believe will be grinding as many Open Series events as possible to try to get to that Players' Championship, joining his buddy Brad Nelson.
Does not want to miss it again this year.
Was kind of at various points looking like he was making a run, but fell short last year. And I think with Brad already qualified and in 6th place right now, great position for Todd to make a run at this thing.
DeMars looking to play spoiler this round, however, and currently up a game. A vintage master is Brian DeMars, but he's had success in many different formats. Has made quite a few deep runs in Pro Tours, a Grand Prix champion in Boston Worcester back in 2012.
And that was sealed. DeMars is known primarily as being a constructed specialist and vintage at the top of that list, but shows a wide array of skills, and that Grand Prix win, I would argue, his signature accomplishment thus far.
Yeah. Great limited format, too. I believe M13.
Sounds right.
Quite a few years ago. They installed, unfortunately, all starts to blend together after a little while, but it was a heck of a tournament for him.
Were you in that one?
I made the top 4, and I stayed with DeMars that weekend. But I can't actually remember the format. I'm trying to remember it right now. I'm pretty sure it was M13 with Talleyrand's Invocation.
I don't even know what that does.
Yeah, of course. Makes 2 drakes for 4 mana. Uncommon.
Oh, right.
Completely busted.
Yep.
But his top 8 deck was a thing of beauty.
He had it was some weird Millstone deck or something?
No, so he actually beat the Sans Delirium deck in the finals because he had an Elixir of Immortality. His deck was an Elixir deck.
Okay.
He had a lot of good cards in his deck, but I remember his opponent was trying to mill him out in the finals, and DeMars was just sandbagging an Elixir in his hand the entire time, and then played it, reshuffled his entire deck, and then his opponent, Robert Victory, cannot win anymore.
That's how you draw it up.
Yeah. And then DeMars and I, we had dinner that evening, and my deck was really good, his deck was really good, and we just battled it out over at the dinner table down in Worcester. Not at the Uno's, actually, different restaurant down there.
Was it the Mexican place across the river?
No, that didn't exist then.
Oh, wow.
There's another restaurant a couple blocks away that the name is escaping me. It's got a very shenanigans vibe. Just
sure.
like
one of those places where you walk in and there's a bunch of knickknacks on the board.
Exactly. Like, what's the name of that restaurant? Office Space, where they wear all the flair. That one.
Man, that's it's painful for me right now that this is escaping. Tchotchkes.
Perfect. I was gonna say O'Charlie's, just like that. Tchotchkes. That might as well have been the name. And you know what? I had a feeling you'd know the name.
Just took me a second.
Don't know why I knew that. I have no idea if you've ever seen Office Space.
Of course I have.
I assumed you did. And if you've seen it, I assumed your knowledge of it was pretty high.
I regularly drop that means every day is the worst day of my life.
One of your go-tos. Yeah. A great movie.
The scene where they take the printer out into the field and beat it up.
Sometimes you just gotta let it go, man.
Yeah, a great movie.
Yep.
That means today is the worst day of your life. Yeah.
Wow. Todd is gonna keep. He's gonna start with a duress. Wild Slash, Tarkus Command, Monastery Swift Spear, make it 2 of those. Titan Strength and 2 Mountains here. Pretty good hand for Brian. Missing a green source for a Tarkus Command, but that's about it.
I get the sense my girlfriend's cheating on me. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay,
another great line.
You've watched Office Space quite a bit. I had no idea.
Yeah, I get that feeling too.
He's going to take Titan Straight with the rest. We're going to head to Mars' way. Zergo, I believe, the draw. There's a mountain. There is Zergo. Pass the turn back. 2 Swift Spears next turn. You can set up for maybe like a turn 4 kill here.
Yeah, no green mana just yet.
Not yet.
Mountain, as far as Anderson knows.
There's basic planes, maybe. Well, here come the beatdowns.
No drowning sorrow to punish him.
No. No Radiant Flames, red mana, any of that stuff. Anderson going to sacrifice blue to Delta. And there's Smoldering Marsh. Well, you better get something on the table now.
And that's an awkward land for him to find, as it doesn't facilitate a whole lot.
I was really thinking the same thing there. There's a Plains. He's just to pass the turn back. Not really curious what he's got in the grip. Hangerback Walker the draw. I was a little curious if DeMars would bring that in.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. My critique of it is it's not that hard for Todd to answer, and it's slow. But if DeMars is trying to weather the storm of removal, anticipating a slower game, it's just a pretty powerful Magic card in those sort of games. I imagine Hangerback Walker is the type of card that DeMars just brings in almost every matchup, anticipating the game slowing down.
Dragon Fodder will be cast. 2 goblins will be entering the battlefield here in just a moment. And now Anderson's going to have to draw. Does he have a green source of mana? He's got a Prairie Stream and a Gideon, which makes an ally. But no green for the Siege Rhino.
And this is one of the upsides of playing a deck like a Target Red. It's not like Todd's draw is bad by any means. He's just a little off curve. He's missing a little bit of his colored mana. And DeMars has a deck that will really punish him for those kind of starts.
Delta can't search for green.
Right. And he drew the Prairie Stream, which is the other duel that he can get. Just these little pieces of variance, you can survive this against a lot of decks, but it's hard to do against a Tarka Red.
The only thing that's fortunate here for Anderson is DeMars has not found the green mana just yet, or this game would be over.
Yeah, green mana would be lethal this turn, most likely.
Wild Slash will take care of the token. Going to give the beatdowns here. I have a feeling DeMars is going to go straight towards Anderson and probably ignore Gideon.
Well, it's 4 points this turn that DeMars has to give up to kill Gideon. Does Gideon save 4 points on the balance going forward? It saves 2 next turn because you get a 2/2 for your trouble.
Hangerback Walker for 1. Last card in hand is Tarka's Command. Anderson knows it. He's at 5. Time to draw. Green mana. It's painful, but it's there. And I believe he also has a Roshan Cleric in hand too. So he's got things to do with the green mana. He can play Siege. He can play a Roshan Cleric and Warden of the First Tree if he'd like. And I think that's going to be the line. Go down to 4, now up to 7, and he's got to hope to fade. That's all he can do. And he's going to pump right now, make it a 3/3.
But this is a board that's not easy for DeMars to attack through.
Yeah, it's gotten harder. Is it the green mana?
I don't think DeMars can really stop attacking.
Well, it gets worse if he stops attacking.
Yeah. His deck's not that good at blocking, so. If it was green mana, we would have seen it.
Heel Cutter's not bad.
That is not a bad draw.
Gonna shut that down. Attack with everybody. Block the 2 biggest creatures.
Has to get the heel cutter off the table also.
You see DeMar kind of line up the blocks on how Todd would have to block in this situation. So 1, 2, 3, 4 points of damage are going to come through. I suppose the question is where is it going, but I imagine it's going to Anderson again.
Yeah, if DeMars didn't attack Gideon the first time, he's certainly not attacking it now.
Yeah. Anderson looks like he's going to try to snipe off a token here. Though he's kind of weighing his blocks. Am I supposed to block Zergo, or am I supposed to try to take care of a token?
Yeah, blocking Zergo saves him a point this turn. Blocking a token gets a token off the table.
Yep. There's some value in doing both. Now keep in mind the green mana that Anderson has on the battlefield, it's a Llanowar Way, so it's going to deal him damage.
Yeah, the Rhino will bring him up to 4, assuming he has to tap the Llanowar Waste.
Anderson will draw. Didn't get a great look at it. There's another copy of Murderous Cut. Down to 1, up to 4. DeMars will take 3. Anderson going to make another ally.
Something to keep in mind, though, if Anderson survives this turn, he can start giving lifelink to the Warden.
Yep.
He gets a little bit more cushion.
Wooded Foothills, the draw, but it's not lethal at this point. DeMars can get Anderson down to 1. Not to say he can't make a good attack, because I think that he can. It's just not quite lethal.
And it's important for Todd to block in such a way that he leaves Warden in play. Because
Yes.
that's his play next turn, unless he draws something very good, is to pump Warden and be able to gain 3.
I think it's important that he leaves Warden on the battlefield and not kill Hangerback Walker.
Yes. So to that end, you can put the Irration Cleric in front of the Hangerback Walker. You can put Warden in front of a token. You can chump block with one of the Gideon token, and Siege Rhino can eat something. And that prevents Hangerback Walker from getting blown up. I guess the other side of the equation is DeMars might say, you know what? You can't do anything with the Warden as long as I have Hangerback Walker.
Love.
This is nice.
Love this attack. Love it. Has to block. Has to kill the Hangerback Walker.
This is a brilliant attack here from DeMars. And he's and DeMars is just covered on the way back.
Yep.
Because in the event that Anderson tries to make a move with the Warden, you put a Tarkus command, prevent him from getting life, and deal 3.
Yep. Absolutely love it. He's going to get a Thopter token.
I mean, honestly, Anderson may have to consider just using Murderous Cut on a Thopter. It might be too risky for him to try to go for a pump with Warden.
Well, pumping. He knows about Tarkus command.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I saw that earlier.
Yeah, so there's no reason to go that route.
Right. So this is still not a horrible spot, though, for Todd, since he can kill the Thopter. He's not facing lethal on the way back. He's got the board covered.
Todd might actually be able to start attacking.
Oh, I think so.
And for what it's worth, I think he has to start attacking. Now, there is a little bit of risk, obviously, with haste threats and things of that nature, a heel cutter, what have you. But I actually think he has to start attacking. And he's thinking Warden. But he cannot activate Warden.
Yeah, I like this. It's a safe attack for him to make. He's still got enough blockers back to cover the board.
Yep.
He can kill the Thopter.
DeMars going to hold a Tarkus command. No rush, unless he unless he was to draw another Tarkus command. But even then, he's still probably okay. So now he'll just take a draw step itself. I believe Wild Slash the draw. There's Murderous Cut. Show 2 burn spells, Brian. That'll do it. Brian DeMars is going to win this match over Todd Anderson 2-0. Atarka Red going to take down Obs on aggro, and a very well-played match there by Brian DeMars.
A lot of discipline. I think that a lot of players would have gotten themselves into trouble making an alpha strike. And what I really like about DeMars' line there is he needs to, in a weird way, even though he's the aggressor and he's very close to killing Todd, if he can't kill Todd, he needs to stretch the game out longer because he needs to give himself as much draw steps. The more that he leaves on defense, the more Anderson can only attack with 1 creature instead of 3 or 4. So by managing the damage race that way, he gives himself additional draw steps, doesn't have to worry about Todd just untapping and attacking and killing him. And